Hey guys, welcome back to another interesting video on my channel. Thanks for joining me, guys. So in this video I am going to teach you how to cut and sew this beautiful trending style. It's called a milkmaid gown. So sit back and grab your pen and paper. I will be right back. Welcome back, dear. So to cut this beautiful style, you will be needing a pattern paper, so it will be easier for us to cut on the fabric. So using the pattern paper, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. That is what I'm doing there. I'm coming down by 1 inch to create a shoulder line. So I'm going to mark my shoulder line now. So next is to divide your shoulder measurement into 2. Whatever you got, add ½ inch seam allowance to it, then mark it down. So mine is 8 inches. My shoulder circumference is 16. Divided by 2 is 8, plus ½ inch, 8.5. Then I marked my 3 inches neck width. Then from that I'm going to come down by 1 inch, which is my shoulder slope. Then I'll connect it to the neck width. So next I'm going to, from my shoulder slope, mark my armhole point. My armhole point is 8. Then I make sure that my point is at the 8.5 inches. The 8.5 inch for my shoulder circumference. Then I'm going to connect it. So this is my shoulder point and my shoulder line. So next thing, I'm going to extend the shoulder point to the back, as you can see. So I'm done doing that. The next is to mark my bust measurement. That's my bust point, my under bust point, and my waist point. That is the 3 points I'll be needing here. So my bust point is 10, my under bust is 13. I'm going to mark my under bust now. My under bust is 13. Then my waist is 17 inches. I'm going to use the same measurement on the other side to make an accurate measurement. So here is it. So I'm going to line them accurately. So after I'm done, I'm going to be lining down the points. This is my shoulder point, my armhole point, my bust point, my under bust point, and my waist point. In case you've been seeing these points online but you don't know what it represents, this is what it represents. So next I'm going to mark my bust point. That is the point, your nipple to nipple point. Mine is 4 inches. I'm going to place it first on my bust point, which is like this, and I'm going to be marking it down to my waist point. That is my nipple to nipple measurement is 8, divided by 2 is 4. That is what I mark now, and I'm going to line it like this. Then from the down part, I'm going to go in by 1 inch and come in by 1 inch again, go down from my bust point by 1 inch. Then I'll connect it like this. Is going to help us to create this beautiful style that we're seeing. We're not going to cut it out like we do on the princess dart style. So we just need this to create the style we want. So for my armhole, I'm going to divide it by 2 for my armhole, so that we can come in a little bit. So I'm going to come in by 0.3 or 4 inches, depending on how in you want it to come. So I'm going to connect it like this with your ruler. If you don't have a ruler, don't worry, you're going to do it very perfectly with your hands. So after I'm done with that, the next thing I'm going to do is to go up by 1 inch from my under bust point. So I went up by 1 inch from my under bust point, and I'm going to connect it to the line you're seeing here like this. So after connecting it, the next thing I'm going to do is to go in by 4 inches from the nipple point I have there. Go in by 4 inches there. Then I'm going to connect it like this. So guys, the next thing I'm going to do now is to go up by 2.5 inches from the bust point, then 2 inches from my armhole point. Then I'll connect it like this. So this depends on how open you want your chest line to be. Mine, I want it to cover very well. I want it to cover very, very well. So that's why I extended it to 2.5 inches. But if you want it to go up, you can make it 3 inches, or if you want it to go down, you can make it 1 or 2 inches, depending on how covered you want it to be. So next, I'm going to start adding my measurements, and I will divide it by 4 inches. So I'm going to mark it down like this. After I'm done putting in the points, I'm just going to connect from the waist on a straight line. Just the waist, from the waist, I'm just going to connect it on a straight line from the waist, like this. Very simple. So I'm going to start cutting out, but before then, I'm going to go in by 1/2 inch from my armhole line, 1/2 inch all round my armhole line. Then I'll connect it like this. So it's going to give me a fitted look. It's going to give me a fitted look rather than adjusting it after sewing. So I'm going to start cutting it out now. So guys, it's time to start cutting the back. So for the back piece, I am going to use the front piece to cut the back piece. So before I placed the front piece on the back piece, I made sure I went in by 1 inch. The 1 inch is my zipper allowance. So I am going to mark it down to avoid making mistakes while placing the front piece on it. So I'm going to line it so I can start from there to place my front piece. Remember, my front piece does not have zip allowance. The zip is going to be at the back. So after marking it out, I'm going to trace the lines from the front piece. I'm going to trace the lines. So there is no need for adding measurements, adding or deducting anything or adding. I'm going to use the front piece to cut the back piece. Well, after I'm done with that, I am going to mark the same thing I marked on the front piece, the princess dart stuff, but I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to put any dart there. That's why I'm not cutting it out. I'm just tracing the lines like right now. Then after tracing the lines, I'll just cut it out. So here I am going to go down by 1/2 inch or 1 inch. Okay, I went in by 1 inch to give a shape at the back. It's just for a styling purpose. So I'm going to style it at the back. I don't want the back to be straight. I just want it to be curvy. So I just curved the back. Then I'm going to use my front piece to trace the lines at the back. So this is how it looks like after cutting out the back piece, and I'm trying to differentiate the two. So next I'm going to cut out this place on the front piece. After cutting it out, the next thing we're going to do is the slash and spread method. So we're going to widen the bust area because it's going to have a gathered stitch. So I'm going to slash this bust point. I'm going to cut it out in pieces, then I will slash it on a new pattern paper, so it will help widen the bust area, so I can use a gathered stitch on it. Get a new pattern paper, fold it into two, line it down just the way you see here, and then start attaching the pieces you just cut by making it 2 inches apart. Then after that, just mark the lines and cut it out. It's as simple as that. This is what I did on the splash and spread method, and it's very simple for me. So here I am done cutting it out. The next thing I'm going to do is to start cutting out on the main fabric. So here is everything that I've cut, and this is only the upper part of the gown. So after cutting it out, I'm going to cut the skirt as well, but it's going to be on the main fabric. So it's time to cut the skirt of that is the down area of the gown. So placing my tape like this, I'm going to use 30 inches as the full length of the skirt. So I place my tape like this, and I marked that place. I'm marking now is my waistline. Then come down by 9 inches. That place is going to be my hip line. Then divide my waist measurement by 4 plus 1 inch. I marked it down. Divide my hip measurement by 4 and 1 inch seam allowance. I had to mark it down. Then I connect it like this. So it's time to start cutting it out. So this is the front part, and for the back area, that's the back piece of the skirt, I went in by 1 inch. Remember, for the back piece of the top, I went in by 1 inch. So I'm going to go in by 1 inch for the zip allowance, and I'm marking it down as well. So I don't need extra measurement. I'm just going to use the front line to cut the front piece to cut the back piece. So here we are done with the skirt, and I'm going to open the back piece of the skirt so we can attach our zip there. So I'm going to give it a notch to know where my zip is going to start from. So here we are done. The next thing I'm going to do right now is to cut the sleeve. So with the remaining material that I have, we are going to have a short off sleeve, and I have 21 inches. Divide by 2. I'm going to divide it by 2, and that is it. I divided 21 inches by 2, and that is what I'm marking it down. I'm going to cut it like this. So one piece is for one sleeve and the other piece is for one sleeve, and we are done. So the next thing we are going to do is to start sewing, and the first thing we are going to do while sewing is to start from the breast cup, and we are going to gather the down part of the breast cup, and on the upper part we are going to fold it by 1 inch, and we are going to create a rope that will go through the 1 inch. And here I am measuring the round cup area to make sure that they are the same thing with the gather I made, and it's the same thing. So I'm going to attach it like this. I'm going to attach it on the bust area like this, and make sure that it's crossed past the other cup like this. Then I'm going to pin it down. If you want, you can open yours, but I want mine to cover. So I made sure I pin it down. So after pinning it down, the next thing I'm going to do is to add the rope. So I am going to draw it inside the 1 inch space I made, and it has covered, and it looks like a breast cup really now. So I'm going to do the same on the other side, and this is how it looks like. So the rope is going to be like this. So this is the beauty of the gown. And for the back, I'm going to fold it down here. That is where my zip is going to be. And here I am done sewing. I'm done joining them together, and this is how it looks like on the upper area. And also the next thing I'm going to do right now is to attach the front piece of the skirt to the front piece of the top. So you can see how I placed the front piece of the down area to the front piece of the upper area, right side facing right side. Then next thing I'm going to do is to pin it down. The material is very stretched, so I don't want it to fall off while sewing. So this is it, and I'm going to do the same on the back. So the next thing I'm going to do is to join the back as well. So here I am done joining the front piece, and this is how it looks like. So I'm going to cut out the excesses, and this is how I cut out the excesses from the front piece of the beautiful gown. And here is for the back piece. So it also has an excess, and I'm going to cut it out. So yeah, that's it. So I'm going to place my front piece on my back piece, right side facing the right side. And next thing I'm going to do right now is to shape it. But before then, I'm going to cut out my sleeve to join on the sleeve part. So here I am done cutting it out using my pattern paper. And after joining everything, and this is how it looks like. It's very simple, easy to make, beautiful, classy. You guys, I know some of you guys might be thinking, oh, this gown, it looks somehow, but guys, this gown is made in heaven. Like, very classy, beautiful. You need to try it. Try it with a very good material. Don't use anyhow material to sew this type of style. So this is the outcome. This is how it looks like. So beautiful. So guys, thank you all for joining me. See you in my next video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like, share and comment on my videos. I love you. See you. Bye.